What's up guys, the Dawning is back and it came out with a new Stasis Sword along with new perks on the 3 previous Dawning weapons, and that is going to be what we're going to be going over today. The Glacioclasm, which is the Void fusion from previous Dawning events, but it's now back with bigger and better perks. So first I want to do a quick overview of how the Dawning works. This season it's very straightforward with the oven. It has all the recipes in there for you, and it also shows off how to get all the ingredients, so no need to Google anything, it's all in the game for you. Every single recipe listed for you, even if you haven't discovered it yet, along with the exact way to get all the different ingredients. So very straightforward, very easy. No need to go outside of game to figure out how to make the cookies. And the best way to farm the essence is the same as last year. What you can do is set up your lure where you slot the first prey mod. Then in the second slot, you don't need anything. In the third slot, it's very important to put a strong mutation mod on. It doesn't matter which one it is. And that will transform the hunt into a higher difficulty. Then what you can do is, if you're in a fire team of at least 2 people, the host will start it. Then the host will simply not go into the load zone and let their teammates finish it. You'll all get 15 essence. This clip was before we remembered to slot the 3rd mod, but then the host simply abandons activity and restarts it, and you can do it over and over again. Another good farm I've heard this season is with the lost sectors. Depending on what the legend or master is, you can do those. I believe you get 16 to 19 essence per run. That is what I heard. Then once you have a bunch of essence, the best thing to do is find a cookie that is easy to farm. I do the drifter cookies because they are taking butter and null taste, which is void damage, then taking kills. What you can do is use Telesto with something like the Sanguine Alchemy with heavy handed, which will give you infinite ammo, and just go into the throwaway CP and just shoot at them for like 10 minutes and you'll be able to bake like 40-50 of the drifter cookies. So depending on which farm you want to do, I think there's a few good farms this season. You could also try finding a cookie that works in the beginning of the dungeon CP with the loot cave entrance. Then once you turn in the trees, there's a chance of getting a gift in return. And this season what you can do is go to Evo Levante and get Perkier Presence and also Perky Presence, which will give you a chance to get double perks in the left and the right. So definitely do that first before you turn in any gift. Then make sure to focus it into, if you're going for the fusion, obviously this one right here, and the gift will only give the fusion or the machine gun. So now looking at the weapon, its base charge time is 1000, so it's a high impact frame, and it is void, which is going to be really good for builds. And if we look at the perks on this weapon, if you've already looked yourself or know what my favorite fusion perk is, I think you know where this is going. And right, there are a few good perks, but the only one we want to be focusing on is going to be Reservoir Burst, which is all around the best fusion perk in the game, the OG loaded question Pinnacle perk. And what that'll do for you is on the first shot of each magazine, you'll do more damage. I believe it's 30% now. And just like chain reaction, every single enemy that will die will then explode in the element of the weapon, so void. And it is a crazy explosion. If you've been around my channel for a long time, you know I was a huge fan of Load Question. I always used it before it got sunset. Then when we got a few more fusions this previous year with Reservoir Burst, I was all over them, along with Chain Reaction on things like the Salvo. They are by far my favorite specials in the game, and I think they are among the best, if not the best. But what sets this one apart from the previous fusions with Reservoir Burst is the left perks. We have Subsistence along with Slide Shot. So first with Subsistence, whenever we get a kill with a weapon, it will refill the magazine. So just keep using the Reservoir Burst shot for the opening shot, get a kill with it, and then it'll pull one from the reserves and refill the magazine. So you will always have that Reservoir Burst shot and will never have to reload the weapon. So for heavy accurate sections in the game, this thing just absolutely shreds like nothing else before it. I mean, every single shot will just cause that huge explosion, and before you know it, everyone's just dead. It is crazy. But this weapon also has Slide Shot, which as long as you can remember to slide after every shot will do the exact same effect, and you'll never have to reload the weapon. But I think if you can get used to it, Slide Shot is better because for single targets, for example, ultras or bosses, you can also slide between the shots to get that Reservoir Burst on every single shot. So if we look at the damage on Carl without Reservoir Burst and Particle Deconstruction times 5, it hits for 10,422 per bolt. Then with Reservoir Burst, it went up to 13,000. Then looking at rate fire of a weapon, so 5 shots without sliding anything like that. So this will only be the first shot Reservoir Burst, the rest will be normal. That took just under 7 seconds, meaning 40.5 thousand DPS, which is pretty good for a special weapon. Obviously, there are some better fusions for pure DPS, But what we can also do with this weapon is with the slide shot roll, we can slide between them to get reservoir burst on all of our shots now, and that's going to take a little bit longer at 7.6 seconds, but the DPS will actually go up because we're going to have that buff for every shot at almost 43,000. Not to mention, it's also going to greatly improve our total damage output. So if you get used to the slide shot roll and kind of learn the playstyle, I think the slide shot is going to be better than subsistence, but obviously both are going to be extremely good. And the subsistence roll will be a little bit easier and a little bit more brainless, and you don't have to really think about it. But I think the slide shot has a higher threshold in terms of usefulness. So we have reservoir burst on every single shot. The only thing holding us back is our total ammo count, and that is where the first build will come into play. If you put on heavy-handed for the second part, every single time you get a kill while surrounded with a SMG, sidearm, fusion, or shotgun, it will return ammo from thin air. So when you're using this weapon, definitely pair it with a sidearm or a SMG, for example, the cold front from this event. That way, if you run out of ammo, you can get kills with that, and it'll actually return ammo to the fusion. Then look at the mods. This will work on all three characters. Use elemental ordnance or elemental armaments, depending on which character you're on, to create elemental wells. Then we have elemental charge to get 2 stacks of chargeable light. Then we also have supercharge on, which will allow us to get to ×4 chargeable light. And finally, with those stacks of chargeable light, we have extra reserves, which is when you're chargeable light, getting void kills will have a chance of spawning in a special brick, and when it does, it'll consume all of these stacks. Then finish off the build on Warlock, I use Devour on Bomb Tree Voidwalker, along with the Nezarec Sin or the Verity's Brow. Then on Titan, I would use Middle Tree Void with the Precious Scars to get crazy healing for myself and my teammates at all times while getting kills with the Glacioclasm. Then on Hunter, I'd use Tether subclass of choice, and there's not really exotic that sticks out to me. There's a few choices that you could do, but nothing that really seems like a must. And another version of the build you could do is more for pure damage output. So now you can use Quick Charge, which will give you stacks of chargeable light on double kills with the fusion. Then if we pair that with stacks on stacks, that way whenever that happens, we get 2 stacks of chargeable light. Then with those stacks of chargeable light, we're going to use high energy fire. So the way this works is it's a infinite loop. Every single kill, you'll have the high energy fire buff. Then as you deplete your 2 stacks, you'll get 2 more stacks, so resulting in that infinite loop. Then we once again have a way to create elemental wells, so ordnance or armaments, depending on which character you're on and whichever one you want. Then finally we have Phantom Might, which will stack with high energy fire, resulting in the highest buffs we can get by ourselves. Then we also have particle deconstruction as our debuff. So that build is going to be more so pure damage, but obviously no way to get that infinite ammo. And obviously both of those builds are curated for purely using the fusion. I think the only mod that is 100% needed is heavy-handed for that infinite ammo. Then you can just slide it into whatever existing build you have already, and it'll work perfectly fine. And obviously in this gameplay, I'm trying to use only the fusion and the fusion only just to show it off. But in most row situations, obviously you only want to pull it out for those majors or ultras or those really dense groups of low tier enemies. Then if there's any stragglers, pull out your sidearm or your SMG. Then for boss fights, use something like Sleeper or G-Horn and you're good to go. And overall, this is one of my favorite specials in the entire game. I absolutely love Reservoir Burst on fusions, and with Slide Shot and Subsistence in the left, it just works so well. And right now, a lot of fusions and linears or meta because of the particle deconstruction artifact mod. But I think this fusion is going to be one that's going to be relevant even after that leaves, and it's 100% worth getting because it is one of the best specials in the game, if not the best. Anyways, the rest of the video will just be some strike gameplay with the Glacioclasm with the build I showed off. Like usual, thanks for watching. Catch you guys next time.
Hive signatures in a facility up